Hey guys, Avatar here, welcome back. Today we're going to do a first look, well, more like a second look at the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot by Ubisoft Montreal. It's a free-to-play game, but on Steam there is a huge plethora of different packages that you can purchase to kind of get some in-game currency or this or that, ranging anywhere from $6 to $75. There's really a bunch of packages, so I won't try to get into specifics here, but let's just dig in and see what the current state of this game currently is. Settings menu for this type of game, which is basically a dungeon crawler, but has some like castle defense elements as well. It has some pretty good settings, as you can see. I have pretty much everything pretty much maxed out, and I have solid FPS. There's really no gameplay issues or anything like that. There have been some reports of overall bugs and issues of lagging out and or like encountering invisible walls and things like that, but I haven't personally experienced any of those. So overall, what is the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot? Well, you basically have two different modes. You have an attack mode where you will attack enemy castles with one of a few different characters. As you can see up here, there is a knight, an archer, a mage, and a runaway. And you can get all those different creatures by, or I should say creatures, different heroes by purchasing them. Now, you can also defend. So this game is, I personally think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of controversy in that though, so I'm going to take a minute to talk about the controversy in a few minutes. First of all, let's just get into the basics. Your defend feature, let's look at that first. As you level up, you can also level up your castle heart and some subsequent different types of, I guess you could call them buildings or little workshops. Each has its own different kind of uses. So you have a summoning portal, which will be used to obviously summon minions or monsters to put into your castle. You have an alchemy lab to brew potions for your attacks. You have a research lab to upgrade your monsters that you summon. Then you have a blacksmith also that will upgrade your own personal armor and weapons. An architect's office, which basically gets you different mines, which you can use to actually mine the currency in the game, which is both gold and life force. Or you can even build rooms as well that will let you actually add to your castle. Also, thing to note is the level of your architect's office helps how many rooms you can actually have in your castle. So now that we got through that, how do you build your castle? Well, you have these different rooms, and on your left hand side you have your defense rating, which is strengthened by your summoning portal, and you have your rooms count, which again was strengthened by your architect's office. So the higher your defense rating, you can just keep basically adding monsters and monsters and monsters and monsters, and basically you just want to complete an impregnable wall of defense that your enemies cannot get. Well, why would your enemies want to attack you? Well, your enemies want to attack you because of the sort of PvP system in this game, which is implemented by these crowns, okay? Anytime you attack an enemy's castle and are victorious, you'll get crowns. Anytime someone attacks you and loses, they will lose crowns and you will gain them. However, if they defeat your castle, they will get crowns as well as some of your currencies. With me so far? So, one of the things I want to point out, I think I might want to go on my post-beta rambling now. This game is almost completely different than it used to be. Some good things, some bad things. One of the bad things is now this game is basically in a way where you can stack all of your creatures, all of your traps, everything you want in one little area to basically make it extremely difficult for enemies to get through. I don't think overall this is a bad thing, but what it really does is just kind of forces everyone to play the same type of way to kind of get through these sort of distractions, and it kind of takes down the creativity of the game a little bit, right? I mean, before people were forced to kind of make maze-like castles and everything. Now it's pretty straightforward, like, let me make all these traps in one little area, let me make all these creatures in one little area. It kind of just takes a little bit of the fun out of it personally. Also, with that change, you actually have to be able to successfully defeat your castle before you can actually publish it. So to me, if you're an expert castle builder out there and you were able to make a sweet castle that you couldn't even defeat, it'd be awesome. But now you have to be able to defeat to actually publish it, so it's kind of sad. Now, some of the good changes though was They used to basically, this game used to be, I don't want to say pay to win, but this game used to be more like a type of browser game where you would have all these upgrades. As you can see, I can upgrade these different things for different currency, and it would take time. Well, you can go ahead and you could have expedited that by using your blings, which is your in-game, like, you know, actual real money currency. That's no longer in here. So pretty much the only thing you can buy with these blings now is some armor and weapons and some, like, aesthetic choices, which personally bothers me simply because I have all these blings and they're pretty much useless now. You say, well, you can buy armor and weapons. Well, the armor and weapons you can get aren't going to be as good as drops anyway, so it's really not a pay-to-win model. Now, I'm happy overall that this game is no longer really pay-to-win or really pay to kind of achieve. However, one thing that does bother me is, and this bothers a lot of people, is the Runaway, which was recently released. You have to pay real money. So it's like, you know, I bought this game way back in closed beta, and now you're telling me that you want another $15, $16 just to get on a character that, especially when I have 5,000 blings just sitting here doing nothing. I know some people have like 90,000 blings and they're just like literally useless, but anyway, I digress. Overall, I think the changes were overall pretty positive, so I will leave it at that. So if we actually want to go ahead and we want to add a little bit, let's just, because I have a lot of room here, I will go ahead and let's just say I want to add some smelly archers here. We'll go ahead and summon them right there. Let me zoom in here. As you can see, I can just kind of spam them. Now before they had area where it's basically like you couldn't have an X amount of creatures in one little area, but now again you can just all shove them in the same place. So that's pretty simple castle building for you. Besides your creatures, you also have the ability to put traps down. As you're able to level up, you can get higher end traps and abilities and creatures, as well as your creatures have different abilities as well. And how do you level up? Well, you level up by leveling your castle heart up. You got level this up. You also kind of have to level your heart as well as your hero. And then you'll need some in-game currency as well. Before, you could obviously, again, kind of bypass a lot with the blings, but no longer is an issue. So let's see, to upgrade this, well, to upgrade this I just need a lot more gold. To upgrade this, I need a Castle Heart rank 11. To upgrade this, same thing, Castle Heart 11. So yeah, interesting, very interesting. But before, again, unless you had real game money, you kind of had to play a couple hours per day, level up, you know, put everything on a timer to level up, which would take some time, and then the next day you can come back and level up your hero and then everything else again. Now you can just kind of grind it all out if you wanted to. It does take a little bit longer to actually get this golden life force because you kind of have to do it manually, which can be a little boring, but let's go ahead and show that aspect of it. So here we are. I am currently level 8, and my goal here is to kill Mr. Feisty, which is like the end boss castle of this area. Anything with the green banner is actually, you know, created by the devs, whereas anything else is created by other players. You can click on them. Some of them you can tell aren't very hard, so that one's probably pretty easy. It's only got 1,000 XP ratio. Some of them are going to have much, much more. Like this guy doesn't have like anything. That must be some sort of, I don't know what kind of dungeon that's going to be. My dungeon's personally easy as hell because, to be honest with you, let me show you again. It bloody sucks. I have nothing. I have all right here, so you literally only have to just walk right past it. This game, I enjoy the attacking aspect of it. I do not really enjoy the defense aspect of it as well. I don't really enjoy any much more, considering in closed beta you could, again, make it a little bit more interesting. Now you kind of have to do one of the stupid gimmicks that everyone seems to do. But I digress again. So let's go back to tech. You have skills. So each different hero will have a bunch of different skills. So as you can see, I've already unlocked quite a few here. Only have, what, 4 more to unlock, and then they also go up in level. So it allows you to have a lot of diversity and difference between the kind of who you want to play and how you want to play it. So you are able to kind of do a different spec for each individual class, and even individual castles that you might want to try to take out, you can easily switch between. Your inventory is pretty much basic as you would think in a standard, you know, dungeon crawler type game. You have your different items that you would equip Pretty straightforward. It's very nice. It tells you the tooltips of, you know, what's being increased, what's being decreased, all that kind of stuff. Thankfully, from closed beta, I was able to keep like all my ultra rare items, which is nice, and my tabs. Oh yeah, you can buy bling. You can buy tabs with blings. A lot. Yay, lovely. It's pretty cool though. Switching gears a little bit, the game's graphics. The game actually looks really good to me. The game has a very, to me, addictive aesthetic as well as musical direction. The music's nice in it, the aesthetic's nice in it. It makes you want to play it. You know, it definitely doesn't. It's not off-putting. It's very inviting, if you will. So we saw a little bit of the high level of the defending. Let's go ahead and show you some of the attacks here. Let's go ahead and go to Hungerbot Hunt. It's easy. It's a couple levels lower than me. See, I can easily use it. The control is pretty straightforward and simple. You kind of just run around like normal. My nice little crossbow here. That's my normal attacks. Now you can have up to 4 attacks at any given time. One is, I have this one up, which is Piercing Shot. Give you nice little tool tips there. So I have a couple different abilities that I can use. So here would be my Hawk ability, which anytime someone steps through it, it'll do a little bit of damage up to a couple different times. Then I have like an AoE barrage thing like that. Another cool thing about this game is each individual hero has a couple different types of weapons. So I think they have all 3 different types, and all 3 different weapons will have different effects. So my different crossbows will have, one's like a machine gun fire like I'm doing right now. One's more of a spread shot type like shotgun. And one would be more of like a ballista where it's kind of like a long range, does a lot of damage, and goes through enemies, but it has that you know, slow cooldown and slow attack rate type thing. Which is pretty interesting. Again, gives you some ability to kind of change it up and give you a little bit of you know, just maybe some strategy. I don't know if there's really that much strategy involved with using different types of weapons, but at least it lets you change it up and kind of dictate to your own specific playstyle. The thing I do like, again, from the open beta was they added quite a few new minions and traps and everything, so that's pretty cool. Just to see that they're still definitely supporting it and everything like that. It's happy to see that. Let's see if we can't finish this here. Speaking of that music and everything, let me go ahead and let you just hear a few minutes of this music here.
Now that's excellence in execution.
Yeah, so it's fun. They have the little like quirky lines and everything, which is nice. It's pretty cool stuff. So again, playing this game feels fun, is fun. I'm happy with it. So what's the downsides? The downsides is that you basically end up doing the exact same thing over and over and over, as you would imagine. Now, you might think, well, isn't that like most dungeon crawlers? It is, but in this one specifically, it kind of sucks because the castles are very small, and although they're pretty much either extremely hard to beat or extremely easy to beat. So it does get a little bit boring quickly. The good news is that this, compared to the closed beta, I'm able to, if I want to sit here and put 8 hours in this game, I can do that and not really have to devote any kind of real money to it. So, you know, I'd say this is pretty much a true free-to-play game. As long as you don't want to get crazy with, you know, extra heroes or anything like that, which are at a cost. You get one free. I think this game could've, would've, should've been just infinitely better if it was able to have actual legitimate multiplayer. You know, on the Steam page it says this game's multiplayer. It's really not. I mean, it's as multiplayer as you can be in reality it's just kind of leaderboards almost. I mean, yeah, you can attack other people's castles and they can attack yours, but you'll never actually play with anybody else or anything like that. And I think that's kind of where the game really... Oh, there's a huge chicken attacking me. We're really kind of where the game kind of falls short. You know, just if I was able to, if these dungeons were a little bit bigger, if I was able to play this game with my friends, this game would be just infinitely better. But that's just not an option, unfortunately. Bloody hogs. So besides your skills, you can also have a potion there, and you can have up to 4 potions per run. And you could have more in your inventory, but they only let you use 4 per run, which is pretty cool.
That's much better.
Damn chickens. You can see this this guy, his dungeon isn't the best. So I mean, he's, you know, it's also only like a level 7 dungeon or whatever. I think it was 9, but this is more of the old school way of creating dungeons, where you're kind of, you know, you just actually make it a legitimate dungeon rather than just piling shit upon shit upon shit. She kind of did here, but it's not much of a issue. Found myself really getting shit on by certain dungeons just to a disgusting degree, which made things a little bit sad for me. You know, just being able to plop that many enemies down in one area, a little bit sad. I think I attribute that a little bit more to the fact that I'm an archer. When I used to play, archer was pretty strong, and now I feel like he might be a little bit underpowered just for the simple fact that he's not really a tank. And a lot of these dungeons that I've encountered are really a little bit more tank driven. A lot of people are kind of beating them all with specifically, you know, the knight, because you know, he can take a lot of damage, just get up in the grills or faces and be able to just, you know, last just fine. So as you attack other players, you will be able to get stars. If you get 3 stars, you will steal the most amount of crowns if they have them, which this guy does not. So from beating it without dying, you get a star. For getting all the mines, you get a star. And then if you beat the time, you also get a star. Obviously, you can see I did not beat the time, although I wasn't that far off. About a minute. Then you also get to kind of rate it, which I'll rate at 2 stars. Gets you a random reward here. And it also shows you what you accumulated as far as XP and gold and life force. So overall, this is a pretty fun game. I think I'd honestly, it's got a low Metascore, and there's a lot of hate on it right now. But I think if you accept it for what it is, it's actually not a bad game. But you have to accept it for what it is. You can't, you know, go looking for something else. A lot of people that played in closed beta were upset, and that's where I think a lot of the hate comes from, specifically from people who expected this to be a little bit more pay to win, even maybe. But the game's pretty nice and free and even. It can be a bitch against other people's dungeons sometimes, but hey. So also there's a lot of kind of PvE, I guess you could say. So you start at a little Spitality, which is kind of like the tutorial, then you get to Hidden Gardens, which we are at right now. Then you go up and you kind of, as you're facing all these actual developed stuff, you kind of also can face any of those personal stuff as well, or the personal castles and stuff. Let me show you my battle log. So anytime you lose to a person, or a person loses to you, I should say, or wins, you can kind of see that, you know, obviously these people, my defense sucks. Again, with that being said, all these people were attacking me and they won. So I could actually replay any of these and actually see them being able to complete it, see if there's any weaknesses in my strategy or anything like that, which is a pretty cool factor if you ask me. Let's go ahead and before we get going here, see if I can't show you one really hard dungeon from a player created. I wonder if I could. No. Let's see. What I usually look for to see like the hardest is just the amount of XP you'd get from them. And these are kind of random, that what puts you on the screen. So you could always hit like more castles if you'd want to, but again, that costs a little bit of gold. But let's do that. Why not? Magic Rick. That's difficulty is easy. Medium. Medium. Now keep in mind that my character, I feel like he kind of sucks. So mediums might be kind of hard for me. This might be some trap or something with only 700 XP. Let's go ahead and try that.
Let's go to work.
But being this game is free to play, I think ultimately you really kind of have to. I think you really kind of have to give it a try if you like these dungeon crawler games. I mean, to me, the coolest part about this game is really the aesthetic and the ability that just the game wants to be played. You know, like I'll sit here and I'll kind of get bored of it, but then I just can't stop. It's really kind of a hard thing to explain. And I can't find anything legitimately wrong with the game to actually legitimately complain about. And again, a lot of the complaints come from people who, you know, played it in closed beta and were just really upset about changes that were made. Which is what it is. I mean, I will say that the devs like said they wouldn't wipe everything, and then they did. So that's kind of a shot in the face, but it is what it is. I mean, like, how fun is me just killing all these things? Pretty fun time. Really, this tower, or this dungeon was not very difficult, but they're not over yet. This game is definitely a little bit more involved game, though. It's not something that I can easily completely show you and explain to you in just, you know, a 20-minute video. It's a lot more, a little bit of nuances and things that you kind of have to kind of find out for yourself once you kind of get into the game. Overall premises are pretty straightforward here, though. I think I want to point out about the ranger here is the build I'm using right now is kind of like a AoE kite build, if I can shoot properly. When I first started, a lot of these missions I use kind of like a solo DPS. So like I can get a skill where I can basically stun a single target as well as have him. Oh man, could stun a target as well as stun a target as well as have it have a little bit of damage over time. And then on top of that, I could have like a I think it's called aim shot. It's basically just a very strong, as you can imagine, solo target DPS shot, which is pretty cool. Not bad, not bad at all. Got my 2 stars. I lost the time, unfortunately. Sometimes it's hard to get. Oh man, he's a pretty good dungeon. Sometimes it's hard to get all 3 stars simply because you have to kill the mines and beat the time, which is usually a little difficult. Go ahead and sell some of this gear.
Need to stay mobile.
That's a lot of stuff. Going. Oh, maximum gold storage. Let's go see if we can upgrade some stuff, which again, I suck at upgrading this stuff. But as I do that, we'll have some final thoughts here. I think if you like dungeon crawlers, if you like castle builders, if anything that you saw today interests you whatsoever, you should at least try it out. I mean, no harm in trying. You know, it's going to be a fun experience, and again, it's free to play, so you're not really going to have to invest anything, or just a little bit if you really want into it, and I think you're going to get your time's worth. I mean, you might end up getting bored with it, you might not, but you never know if you don't really try. It's one of those very, very personal type games where you have to want to play a single player game for hours on end to really, you know, get into this game. But hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing, right? I think it's got a lot to offer, though. It really does. So I think that you shouldn't pass it up unless you really don't like this style, or you really are upset at Ubisoft for whatever reason. But otherwise, I think you should check it out, guys. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.